The anniversary surprise gone wrong. The champagne glasses sat untouched on the dining table, their bubbles slowly dying like my marriage. 7 years. 7 years of believing in forever, and it all crumbled in one text message that wasn't meant for me. Can't wait to see you tonight, baby. Wear the red dress I bought you. The message glowed on Daniel's phone screen, mocking me as I stood frozen in our kitchen. My hands trembled as I held the device, my heart hammering so loud I could hear it echoing in my ears. Today was supposed to be special. Our 7th anniversary. I'd taken the day off from work, spent hours preparing his favorite meal, even bought that expensive wine he'd been talking about for months. But Daniel wasn't coming home to celebrate with me. He was going to her. The perfect marriage facade. I sank into the chair, memories flooding back like a cruel movie playing in my mind. We met at a corporate conference 10 years ago. I was a junior marketing executive, ambitious and hungry for success. Daniel was the rising star of his father's real estate company, charming and confident. He pursued me with flowers, romantic dinners, and promises of a future filled with love and partnership. "You're different, Maya," he'd whispered on our 3rd date, his fingers intertwined with mine. "You challenge me. You inspire me. I want to build an empire with you by my side." I believed him. God, how I believed every word. We married after 2 years of dating. The wedding was spectacular, featured in magazines, attended by hundreds. My parents cried tears of joy. My friends envied me. I thought I had won the lottery of life. A handsome, successful husband who supported my career dreams and promised equality in our relationship. For the first few years, it was perfect. We traveled the world, bought our dream penthouse, talked about starting a family. Daniel encouraged me to start my own marketing consultancy firm. He introduced me to potential clients, celebrated my victories, held me through my failures. When did it all become a lie? The other woman revealed. I couldn't sit there drowning in memories. I needed answers. I grabbed my purse and Daniel's phone, my hand steadying with newfound determination. The restaurant name was in the message thread. La Belle Époque. Of course, he'd take her to our favorite place. 30 minutes later, I stood outside the French restaurant, peering through the window. And there they were. Daniel, in the suit I'd bought him for Christmas, leaning across the table, his hand covering hers. The woman was beautiful. Younger than me, maybe 25, with long dark hair and a smile that lit up her whole face. She wore red. The red dress he'd bought her. I watched as Daniel lifted her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles. The same gesture he'd used on our first date. My stomach twisted, but I didn't look away. I needed to see it all, to burn this image into my memory so I'd never be weak again. Taking a deep breath, I pushed open the restaurant door. The hostess smiled at me, but I walked past her, my eyes locked on Daniel's table. He saw me approaching, and the color drained from his face. The woman turned, confusion clouding her features. "Maya," Daniel stammered, standing abruptly. His chair scraped against the floor. "What are you doing here?" "Happy anniversary, darling," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. I turned to the woman. "I'm Maya. Daniel's wife." "And you are?" She looked between us, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. "I'm Sophia. I work with Daniel. He said he was divorced." "Did he now?" I smiled, though my heart was breaking into a million pieces. "That's interesting because we just celebrated our 7th anniversary this morning." "Well, I tried to celebrate." "He was too busy texting you." The ultimatum. Daniel grabbed my arm, his face flushed with panic and anger. "Maya, please. Let's not make a scene. We can talk about this at home." I yanked my arm free. "A scene? You're worried about a scene? You've been having an affair, bringing her to our favorite restaurant, and you're worried about a scene?" Sophia stood up, tears streaming down her face. He told me he was divorced. He said you were just business partners who stayed friends. I would never. She grabbed her purse, her hands shaking. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. She rushed past me, and I let her go. My anger wasn't for her. It was for the man who'd lied to both of us. Daniel tried to follow Sophia, but I blocked his path. Let her go, I said coldly. You and I need to talk. Back at our penthouse, the tension was suffocating. The anniversary dinner I'd prepared sat cold on the table, a monument to my naivety. Daniel poured himself a scotch, his third one in the past hour. I sat on the couch, my arms crossed, watching him pace like a caged animal. How long? I finally asked. Maya. How long, Daniel? He sighed, running his hand through his hair. 6 months. But it meant nothing. It was just. Just what? Just fun? Just physical? Just a mistake? My voice rose despite my efforts to stay calm. 6 months isn't a mistake. It's a choice. A choice you made every single day for half a year. I know. He sat down, his head in his hands. I know, and I'm sorry. But Maya, we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll end it with Sophia. I'll do whatever it takes. I laughed bitterly. You think I'd take you back after this? Daniel looked up, and something shifted in his eyes. The remorse was replaced by something harder, more calculating. Think about it practically, Maya. Our lives are intertwined. Your business thrives because of my connections. My company benefits from your marketing genius. Our families are friends. A divorce would be messy, expensive, and public. Neither of us wants that. What are you suggesting? He leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. An open marriage. We stay together publicly, maintain our partnership, but we're free to see other people privately. Lots of couples do it. It works. I stared at him, unable to believe what I was hearing. You want to keep me as your wife while you sleep with other women? And you'd be free to see other men, he added quickly. Equal freedom, equal rules. We just have to be discreet about it. You think I'd ever trust you again? You think I'd want this kind of arrangement? Daniel stood, his expression hardening. I think you're smart enough to see the benefits. You love your career, your lifestyle, your social status. All of that stays intact. And let's be honest, Maya. You're 34. Starting over wouldn't be easy. This way, everyone wins. His words were like poison, designed to make me doubt myself. For a moment, I almost fell for it. Almost let fear and pride trap me in this hollow marriage. But then I remembered the way he'd kissed Sophia's hand, the lies he'd told her about being divorced, the 6 months of betrayal. Fine, I heard myself say. Daniel's face lit up with relief. Really? You'll agree? On one condition, I continued, my mind racing with a plan forming in the shadows. If we're doing this, we do it my way. No questions about where I go or who I'm with. Complete freedom and complete discretion. You live your life, I live mine, and we play the perfect couple in public. He nodded eagerly. Absolutely. Whatever you want. Good. I stood up, my decision made. Then we have a deal. But Daniel, remember this. You opened this door. Don't complain about what walks through it. The unexpected encounter. 3 days later, I stood in the Meridian Art Gallery, staring at a painting that seemed to mirror my soul. Dark blues and grays swirled across the canvas, with a single streak of gold cutting through the chaos. It was titled Breaking Point. Beautiful, isn't it? A deep voice spoke beside me. The artist calls it his phoenix moment. When everything burns down, and you have to decide whether to stay in the ashes or rise from them. I turned to find a man standing next to me. Tall, maybe 6 feet, with dark hair that fell slightly into his eyes. He wore a simple black shirt and jeans, but something about him commanded attention. His eyes were what caught me though. Deep green, intense, but kind. "I'm Ethan Cross," he said, extending his hand. "I'm the artist. Maya Sterling." I shook his hand, feeling a spark of electricity at the contact. "Your work is incredible. Very raw and honest." "Thank you. Art should be honest, don't you think? Life is messy and complicated. Pretending otherwise is just lying on canvas." He studied my face. "You look like someone who understands complicated." I laughed, surprised by his directness. "Is it that obvious?" "Only to someone who's been there." He gestured to a quiet corner of the gallery. "Can I buy you a coffee?" The gallery owner is a friend. She won't mind if I sneak away from my own exhibition for a bit. I should have said no. I should have gone home to my empty penthouse and my broken marriage. But something about Ethan made me want to stay, to talk, to feel human again. Coffee sounds perfect. The decision. We sat in the gallery's small cafe, talking for 2 hours. Ethan told me about his journey as an artist, how he'd spent years in corporate law before quitting to pursue his passion. How his family thought he was crazy, how he'd lost friends who couldn't understand his choice. "But I had to do it," he said, his eyes distant. "I was dying slowly in that world, wearing suits and pretending to care about billable hours. Art saved my life." "That's brave," I said quietly. "Walking away from everything safe. Brave or stupid, depending on who you ask." He smiled. "What about you, Maya? What's your story?" I hesitated. I barely knew this man. But something about him felt safe, genuine. Maybe it was the wine, or maybe it was the desperate need to talk to someone who wouldn't judge me. "I'm married," I said finally. 7 years. "And I just found out my husband has been having an affair." He suggested we have an open marriage instead of divorcing. Ethan's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. "And you agreed?" I did. But not for the reasons he thinks. I took a sip of wine. He thinks I'm too scared to leave, too dependent on him. He thinks I'll just accept this arrangement and be grateful he's letting me stay. But you have other plans. It wasn't a question. Somehow, Ethan understood. I spent 7 years building a life with someone who betrayed me. I'm not going to slink away quietly and let him win. If he wants an open marriage, he's going to get exactly what he asked for. And he's going to regret every second of it. Ethan leaned back, studying me with those intense green eyes. "Revenge isn't always satisfying, Maya. Sometimes it just leaves you empty." "Maybe," I agreed. "But right now, empty sounds better than broken." We sat in silence for a moment. Then Ethan pulled out his phone. "Give me your number." "Why?" "Because I think you're interesting. Because I'd like to see you again. And because something tells me you could use a friend right now." He paused. "Just a friend, if that's all you want. No pressure, no expectations." I took his phone and typed in my number. As I handed it back, our fingers touched again, and I felt that spark once more. Stronger this time. "Thank you, Ethan." "For what?" "For seeing me. Not my marriage, not my situation. Just me." He smiled, and it transformed his face from handsome to beautiful. "That's the easiest thing in the world, Maya. You're pretty hard to miss." As I walked out of the gallery that night, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Not for my marriage, that was dead and buried. But hope for myself. Hope that maybe, just maybe, I could rise from these ashes. Daniel was right about one thing. He had opened a door. But he had no idea what was about to walk through it. I pulled out my phone and texted Ethan. "Dinner tomorrow? I'd love to hear more about your Phoenix moment." His reply came instantly. It's a date. Or not a date. Whatever you're comfortable with. I smiled, typing back. Let's call it the beginning of something new. And for the first time in 3 days, I felt like myself again. Not Daniel's wife. Not the woman who'd been betrayed. Just Maya. And Maya was ready to rebuild her life, with or without anyone's permission. The game was on. Daniel wanted an open marriage? He was about to learn that some doors, once opened, can never be closed again. Part 2, The Transformation. New beginnings. 3 months passed, and my life transformed in ways I never imagined. Ethan and I had dinner that next night, and the night after that, and soon we were seeing each other almost every day. What started as friendship evolved into something deeper, something real. You're different now, my assistant Jenny commented one morning as I reviewed campaign proposals. You're glowing. I smiled, thinking of the text Ethan had sent that morning. Just a simple good morning, beautiful. Conquer the day. But it made my heart lighter. I'm just happy with work, I deflected. But it was more than work. For the first time in years, I felt alive. Ethan didn't just see me as Daniel's wife or as a successful businesswoman. He saw Maya. The woman who loved art museums at midnight, who laughed too loud at bad jokes, who cried during romantic movies. We kept things discreet, just as I'd promised Daniel. But every moment with Ethan felt like stealing back pieces of myself that I'd lost in my marriage. I'm falling for you, Ethan admitted one night as we sat on his apartment balcony, the city lights twinkling below us. I know the timing is terrible and complicated, but I can't help it. You've taken over my thoughts, Maya. My heart raced. Ethan. You don't have to say anything back, he interrupted gently. I just needed you to know. Whatever this is, whatever it becomes, I'm here. For as long as you want me. I reached for his hand, intertwining our fingers. I'm falling for you too. And it terrifies me. Why? Because the last time I gave my heart to someone, he crushed it. What if? I'm not Daniel, Ethan said firmly. I would never do that to you. But I understand if you need time to trust that. I leaned my head on his shoulder, feeling safe in a way I hadn't felt in years. Thank you for being patient with me. Always. The double life. Meanwhile, Daniel was living his own life. Sophia was gone, but there were others. A different woman every few weeks. Models, actresses, socialites. He didn't even try to hide it anymore, though he was careful about public appearances. But something was changing in him. I noticed it in the way he watched me at breakfast, how his eyes followed me when I got ready to go out. Where are you going? He asked one Saturday evening as I applied lipstick in the bathroom mirror. Out, I replied simply, slipping on the diamond earrings he'd given me for our 5th anniversary. Ironic that I was wearing his gifts on dates with another man. Out where? With whom? I turned to face him, raising an eyebrow. Does it matter? We have an arrangement, remember? No questions. His jaw clenched. I know, but... But what, Daniel? Having second thoughts about your brilliant idea? No. I just want to know you're being safe. Safe? I laughed. Now you care about my safety? How thoughtful. I grabbed my purse and walked past him. He caught my wrist, his grip firm but not painful. Maya, wait. What? He stared at me, something unreadable in his eyes. You look beautiful. The compliment caught me off guard. Daniel hadn't told me I looked beautiful in over a year. I pulled my wrist free. Thank you. Don't wait up. As I drove to meet Ethan, my phone buzzed with texts from Daniel. Each one more desperate than the last. Who is he? Are you seeing someone seriously? Maya, we need to talk. I silenced my phone and focused on the evening ahead. Daniel didn't get to have both things. He didn't get to have his freedom and my loyalty. He'd made his choice. Now I was making mine. The business empire. But my transformation wasn't just personal. It was professional too. For years, I'd been content running my boutique marketing firm, taking on interesting clients but never pushing too hard. I'd told myself I was being strategic, building slowly. The truth was, I'd been holding back. For Daniel. To not overshadow him. To be supportive without being threatening. No more. I started pitching to bigger clients, taking bigger risks. I hired a team of young, hungry marketers and we went after major accounts. Within 2 months, we landed 3 Fortune 500 companies. Within 4 months, we were featured in Business Weekly as the marketing firm to watch. The article included a photo of me in my office, confident and powerful. The caption read, "Maya Sterling, the mastermind behind Sterling and Associates, proves that innovation and insight can disrupt even the most established industries." Daniel saw the article. I knew because he left it on the kitchen counter with several sections underlined. "This is impressive," he said that evening, gesturing to the magazine. "I didn't realize you were going after such big accounts." "You never asked," I replied, pouring myself a glass of wine. "Sterling and Associates," he read aloud. "You changed the name. It used to be Sterling Cross Marketing. I removed your family name. Our arrangement is personal, Daniel. It doesn't need to extend to business." His face reddened. "My family name helped you build that company." "My connections." "Your connections opened some doors," I interrupted. "But I walked through them myself. I did the work. I created the campaigns. I earned those clients. Your name was just decoration." "That's not fair." "Fair?" I laughed. "You want to talk about fair? You had an affair for 6 months. You suggested an open marriage because you were too coward to divorce me. You paraded women through this city while wearing your wedding ring. But sure, let's talk about what's fair." Daniel fell silent, his anger deflating into something else. Something that looked almost like regret. But I wasn't done. I was just getting started. The tables turn. It was Ethan who first told me about Daniel's financial troubles. I saw the news about Cross Properties, he mentioned casually one evening as we cooked dinner together in his apartment. "The Riverside development fell through?" I looked up from chopping vegetables. "What are you talking about?" "It's been all over the business news. Cross Properties lost their anchor investor for the Riverside project. The whole deal collapsed." Ethan paused, studying my face. "You didn't know?" I shook my head. Daniel hadn't said anything about business problems. But then again, we barely talked anymore beyond surface pleasantries. That night, I did research. Ethan was right. The Riverside development, Daniel's biggest project in years, had fallen apart. The investor pulled out after discovering some irregularities in the company's financial projections. The news articles were careful with their language, but reading between the lines, it looked like fraud. Fraud that I knew Daniel was capable of. I'd seen him massage numbers before, justify creative accounting as business strategy. The next morning, I confronted him. "Why didn't you tell me about Riverside?" Daniel looked up from his coffee, his face pale. He'd been looking increasingly haggard lately. Dark circles under his eyes, hair less perfectly styled. "It's under control." "Is it?" "Because the news reports suggest your company is in serious trouble." "The news doesn't know everything," he snapped. "Yes, we lost the Riverside investor. But I'm working on finding another one." "What happened, Daniel? What did you do?" His face flushed. "I didn't do anything wrong. The investor got cold feet, that's all. The market is volatile." "But I knew my husband." "Former husband, really, in all the ways that mattered. I knew when he was lying." This is about Sophia, isn't it? The realization hit me suddenly. She wasn't just your mistress. She was involved in your business somehow. Daniel's silence was confirmation enough. Let me guess, I continued. She had information you needed. Access to something. And when I confronted her at the restaurant, when she learned you were still married, she left. And she took that information with her. Maya. How much did she cost you, Daniel? How much did your affair cost your company? He stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. This isn't your concern. Sterling and Associates is separate from Cross Properties. You're right, I agreed. They are separate. Which is good for me, since my company is thriving while yours is collapsing. The look he gave me was pure venom. Careful, Maya. Success can be fleeting. Is that a threat? It's a reminder. We're still married. Our finances are intertwined. If I go down, you go down with me. I smiled, cold and calculated. Actually, Daniel, you might want to check the paperwork on that. Remember when you had me sign those documents 6 months ago? The ones you said were just routine estate planning? His face went white. What are you talking about? Those documents legally separated our finances. You insisted on it, remember? You wanted to protect your assets from my business risks. You made me sign an agreement that Sterling and Associates was solely my company, with no claims from you or Cross Properties. The truth dawned on him slowly. You knew. Even back then, you knew. I knew you were having an affair. I didn't know with whom yet, but I knew something was wrong. So yes, when you suggested separating our finances, I was more than happy to protect my company from whatever mess you were creating. Daniel sank back into his chair, his head in his hands. I'm going to lose everything. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. But then I remembered the text message that started all this. The lies. The betrayal. The 6 months of deception. No, I said quietly. You already lost everything. You just didn't realize it yet. The public humiliation. The annual charity gala was the event of the season. Everyone who was anyone would be there. Politicians, business leaders, celebrities. Daniel and I had attended every year since we got married, playing the role of the perfect power couple. This year would be different. Are you sure about this? Ethan asked as we got ready in his apartment. He looked incredible in his tuxedo, his dark hair styled perfectly. Once we walk in there together, there's no taking it back. Everyone will know. I adjusted his bow tie, meeting his eyes in the mirror. I'm sure. I'm tired of hiding. Tired of pretending. If Daniel can parade his affairs around the city, I can walk into a gala with a man who actually respects me. I love you, Ethan said suddenly. I know this isn't the best timing, but I need you to know. I love you, Maya. Not because of revenge or rebellion or whatever this started as. I love you because you're brilliant and brave and beautiful. And I want everyone to know you're mine. My heart soared. I love you too, I whispered. More than I thought I could love anyone again. We arrived at the gala fashionably late. The moment we walked through the doors, conversation stopped. Heads turned. Whispers rippled through the crowd like waves. Maya Sterling had arrived. And not with her husband. Daniel found us within minutes. He looked terrible. His tuxedo was impeccable as always, but his face was drawn, eyes hollow. He'd lost weight. Maya, he said, ignoring Ethan completely. Can we talk? Privately? Anything you need to say, you can say in front of Ethan. Daniel's eyes flicked to Ethan for the first time, sizing him up. Who are you? Ethan Cross, he replied calmly, extending his hand. Maya's boyfriend. Daniel ignored the hand. Boyfriend? You're parading your affair in public now? Our arrangement allows for this, remember? I said sweetly. Open marriage, no questions, complete freedom. Your words, Daniel. I never thought you'd actually. He stopped himself, jaw clenching. We need to talk. Please. Something in his voice made me pause. He wasn't angry. He was desperate. Fine. 5 minutes. Ethan squeezed my hand reassuringly as I followed Daniel to a quiet balcony. The city stretched below us, glittering and indifferent to human drama. I was wrong, Daniel said immediately. About everything. The open marriage, the affair, all of it. I was an idiot, Maya. I threw away the best thing in my life because I was bored and selfish and stupid. Daniel. I'm losing the company, he continued, words rushing out like he'd been holding them in for weeks. Cross Properties is going bankrupt. My father is furious. The board is pushing me out. And all I can think about is how I lost you first. How I destroyed us for meaningless flings and false excitement. I stared at him, seeing clearly for the first time in years. He wasn't sorry for hurting me. He was sorry for the consequences. Do you love him? Daniel asked quietly. This Ethan? Yes. The word hung between us, final and absolute. Does he make you happy? Yes. Daniel nodded slowly, tears gathering in his eyes. I used to make you happy. Remember? In the beginning? That was a long time ago, I said softly. We were different people then. Can we be those people again? Can we start over? I'll do anything, Maya. Anything. I looked at my husband. The man I'd loved for 10 years. The man who'd promised me forever and then shattered that promise into a million pieces. And I felt nothing. No anger, no love, no regret. Just nothing. No, I said simply. We can't. Because I don't want to. Maya. I want a divorce, Daniel. A real one. Not this open marriage charade. I want to be free of you. You completely. His face crumpled. Please. Don't do this. We can work it out. We can go to counseling. We can. I don't want to work it out, I interrupted gently but firmly. I want to move on. With Ethan. Without you. I left him on the balcony and returned to the gala. Ethan was waiting right where I'd left him, 2 glasses of champagne in hand. He handed me one, his eyes searching my face. How do you feel? I looked around the room. At the people watching us. At Daniel's business associates whispering. At the society matrons judging. And I smiled. I feel free. Ethan raised his glass. To freedom. To new beginnings, I added. We clinked glasses and drank, and I knew that no matter what happened next, I'd never regret this moment. This choice. This man. The breakdown. Over the next 2 weeks, Daniel's unraveling accelerated. He called constantly, texted at all hours, showed up at my office. My assistant learned to turn him away with practiced efficiency. Mrs. Sterling is in a meeting. Mrs. Sterling is with a client. Mrs. Sterling is unavailable. But one evening, he caught me as I was leaving the office. He looked worse than ever. Unshaven, suit wrinkled, eyes wild. Maya, please. Just hear me out. Daniel, we've been through this. I know what I did. I know I destroyed us. But I'm begging you. Don't divorce me. Not yet. Give me one more chance to prove I can change. Security was approaching, but I waved them off. For better or worse, this man had been part of my life for a decade. He deserved a real goodbye. Daniel, listen to me carefully. I don't want you to change for me. I want you to change for yourself. Get help. See a therapist. Figure out why you need constant validation from multiple women. Why you're never satisfied with what you have. But do it for you. Not for us. There is no us anymore. But I love you, he whispered, tears streaming down his face. I love you, and I threw it away. How do I live with that? The same way I lived with your betrayal, I replied. One day at a time. One breath at a time. You learn and you grow and eventually, you forgive yourself. Will you ever forgive me? I considered the question. Would I? Could I? Maybe someday, I said honestly. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. I can forgive you and still choose not to be with you. Those are two separate things. Daniel nodded, defeated. He better treat you right. This Ethan. He better know how lucky he is. He does, I said softly. Every day. As I walked away, I heard Daniel call after me. I hope he makes you happier than I ever could. I turned back one last time. He already does. And it was true. Ethan made me laugh, made me feel safe, made me believe in love again. He supported my career without feeling threatened. He encouraged my independence while offering partnership. He was everything Daniel had promised to be and never was. That night, Ethan and I lay in his bed, my head on his chest, his fingers running through my hair. I filed the divorce papers today, I told him. It'll be final in a few months. How do you feel? Relieved. Sad. Hopeful. All at once. He kissed the top of my head. That's okay. Endings and beginnings can exist at the same time. What happens to us now? I asked. After the divorce? Do you still want this? Want me? With all my baggage and complications? Ethan tilted my chin up so I could see his eyes. Maya, I want you. Today, tomorrow, always. Your past doesn't scare me. It made you who you are. And I love who you are. I love you too, I whispered. So much it terrifies me. Good, he grinned. Love should be a little terrifying. It means it's real.